This is the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, and joining me, my good buddy, Clinton Bonner. Adam Emmert should be joining us in a little bit, but we had to go live when we got the news, Clinton. Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos, of all places.
Ugh. Yeah. Stop.
Yeah,
man. Just it's just stop you in your tracks kind of thing, right? I was like, personally, I was like literally checking Slack for something for work, and I sending an email out to somebody else, and I just like dropped everything, and all I got across the top of the screen, Brandon, was like, Seahawks and Broncos agree to block. And like that was all it read so far, and I was like, "Oh, nothing. They're throwing a block party. This could be a myriad things." And then I hit the thing, and it took a while to refresh, and then the news started pouring in, man. So it was the initial emotional reaction. It was like as bad a gut punch as the play that shall not be talked about. Like that's how it felt for me. I felt truly gutted in the stomach, man. So how about what was your first
reaction? I would put that reaction on par with that particular moment in Seahawks history. It does feel like that. And on Facebook, how y'all not crying right now? How do you know that we didn't just get over it? I mean, I feel like my eyes are a little bit red. This is
definitely puffy.
Yeah. I wouldn't, there's other things going on in the world right now to help put it in perspective, but it's still, it doesn't feel great.
No, it feels like getting kicked in the what by a donkey or a bronco in this instance, and then the text streams start flooding in, right? So I got all my boys from Long Island, and I got my boys from Connecticut that I'm in fantasy football leagues with, and I got two dudes I'm actually Broncos fans with. They were not spiking the football. They were just like, holy crap, dude. And then, wanted to talk about the compensation, which I'm sure we're going to get into as well. And we will talk about that. And I'm sure we'll go through the compensation, but the just the feeling of like, we don't have Russell Wilson anymore, right? Like we kind of went through this, Brandon, when the LOB broke up, like rewind the clock 5-6 years ago. And it's like, oh man, these dudes are Hall of Famers, and they're going to stay with us until they're not playing football anymore. And then like one by one, they were like, petals falling off a rose over here. And then it was like, all right, well, we got Bobby and we got Russ, and like these dudes and then this hits, and it's just even more of a punch. It's like, this is the generational quarterback. This is 10 years. Our dude, Super Bowl champion, 9-time Pro Bowler, and he ain't ours anymore. And it's a crappy thing to say out loud, and it doesn't make me feel better yet. So,
well, it was, it's kind of, it feels strange because initially at the end of the season, when you look back to Russell Wilson's end of season press conference, and you hear him saying things like, I hope I'm back. And I keyed in on that word hope. A lot of people did. I know Corbin Smith was big in on it too, wondering, and asked him the question, why do you keep saying hope? Or maybe it was Michael Sean Dugar too. You have a no trade clause. Why are we saying hope in this? And so that's when I look at the trade package, it feels like a fair package if Russell Wilson wanted out. And so that's what has me leaning toward, because Jay Keeps said on Twitter, like, this isn't enough for Russell Wilson. And what the Seahawks are getting, they're getting the 2 first-round picks from the Denver Broncos. They get number 9 overall this year for 2022. They get the first pick next year. Plus they get 2 second-round picks. One of them is pick number 40. So the Seahawks are going to end up with pick number 40 and pick number 41 in 2022 in the second round. So 3 picks in the top 50. So those are the draft picks. And also they swap a 4th rounder for a 5th rounder. The Broncos get the Seahawks 4th rounder, and we get their 5th rounder. So why they threw that in, I don't know. That seems weird, but they did. 3 players also coming to Seattle. Noah Fant, a tight end, because obviously Russell Wilson doesn't throw to tight ends, so the Broncos aren't going to need Noah Fant anymore. Shelby Harris, really good defensive tackle. He comes over. He's on a 2-year deal, and then they get quarterback Drew Lock, who the Broncos obviously don't need anymore. Who knows if the Seahawks will need him? If Drew Lock is the guy suiting up week 1 for the Seahawks, I'm not real interested in that. But Drew Lock coming to Seattle too as part of the deal.
Yeah, that's a big yikes at the end of that, right? So I think I'm with Jay Keeps that's like this is you traded a Hall of Famer, right? So if you trade a Hall of Famer, and I think the biggest thing that you and Adam and myself and others have talked about is like, does the deal involve getting back at least a pretty competent quarterback? Like, and if it does not, the answer is no.
Yeah.
This does
deal
not.
Doesn't. This
No,
I don't look.
No.
The only way I see a competent quarterback coming as part of this deal, and this was not something that I took into account in any of our conversations, but if the Seahawks forego quarterback this year, if Drew Lock is the starter, then we can count on a 2 to 4 win season in 2022. And then we'll have the first or second pick in the 2023 draft. And so then you get your quarterback in the 2023 draft.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that's giving up a year, and that's also DK's last year under contract, right? Which is something to talk about, and something that's quite interesting, and some other players that some things might matriculate from this move for sure. And I don't want to go through that, right? Because we've been good for a long time. And we still have a pretty talented roster, but however, right now it's taken a severe. Remember, like Battle Axe He-Man back in the day, he had that chest plate thing, and you could chop away at it. It would like rotate and show more and more damage.
Oh yeah,
well, yeah, it was pretty sweet. Well,
I think I have that toy.
Yeah, Battle Axe He-Man's an all timer. Well, our Battle Axe He-Man just took like another severe chest ding, right? And that's not going to be recoverable until we solve for quarterback, and Drew Lock ain't it. Now, could this be the Drew Lock comeback story? And like, we're all, halfway through the year, we're like, oh my gosh, he actually is pretty good. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think that could be the plan. You look to the draft, and you got I think it's Malik Lewis, and you got Carroll, right? Matt Corral, I think is how you say it. Yeah. And you got, Pickett and some others that are like seemingly okay quarterbacks, but it just seems like a very odd year to do this and to do this with a team that you're not getting back at least like a David Carr level quarterback who could actually shown he could play consistently good football in the NFL.
Carr, Derek Carr, one of the Cars.
Yeah. The Cars, the band. It's all good, So yeah, very good.
Well, and Keith said it, and I think we're on the same wavelength here, Keith. We are not aiming to be competitive this year. We are tanking. And the thing that's really going to tell that out is, what other players go. Bobby obviously makes a ton of sense as someone who won't come back after this year. Barry comes in via the super chat, says, if we were all at a bar, I'd buy everyone around to piss our tears away. I know he's not perfect, but the compensation seems, not enough. If Russ wanted out, it's smart, but ouch.
Yeah. It's to what you said earlier, right? Just trying to step back from it emotionally. It's like if Russ was literally very determined on, I'm getting out of here. If that was behind the scenes, what was happening, then I could look at this package and be like, okay. Like if it was even if it was like last year at this point, if it was like the last year rhetoric and then this kind of came through, like, okay, I could kind of see that. And accept it with a little bit more, acceptance to be repetitive. But for this year, it's like, it didn't feel like we were there. It felt like we were kissing and making up and getting through all this. And
everybody was saying the right things in all the press conferences. It felt like Russ was doing the tour, and he stayed away, I think, from the hope language. I mean, he was talking in the way that it could happen, I suppose, the way anything could happen, but it caught me off guard, especially the way that the rhetoric had changed. It felt like it shifted, and so I wasn't prepared for this.
No, not at all. And thank you anybody who's chiming in with the super chats. That's mighty amazing of you. Very very cool. And we do have some fun comments. People are like asking like, all right, is it fire sale time? Are we tanking like Flocktimus said? And I don't know, man. Is this the way Pete Carroll goes out? Right? Does Pete Carroll and then the John Schneider era, do they go out as what is he, 70 years old? Is that correct? I think he's 70, right?
Yeah.
Does he go out as a head coach like that, being like, yeah, I tanked, we traded off the all-time best QB, probably best player we've ever had, and he's going to spend a year or two rebuilding? Is that what him at this part of his career is really going to go do? Those things are in conflict to me. I don't know about you, Brand. They don't square up. I know it's a logical thing to say, yes, this is a tanking move, but him and his career right now, he's going to tank at this point. I just, something's not squaring up for me, man.
Well, the thing that if you go back to when Pete showed up in 2010, it was what, a 3-year build to the Super Bowl, right? And really that move toward the Super Bowl, it started with building the defense. It started with getting Marshawn. And then Russ was just the piece that it really pushed them over the top. I think that they had a quarterback who was outstanding at winning in the clutch, and the style that Pete likes to play with running the ball, that type of guy makes sense to have. So as I'm thinking through this, I'm struggling with the idea of how you find that guy to be that piece that Russ was. So even if you do have a 3-year plan, Shelby Harris up front is a guy who, he can help anchor that front of that defense. Other pieces on defense, though, is that where they go? Do they go defense heavy then with these draft picks? And then with it being a strong running back class, with the idea that maybe Penny can come back and be that guy that, maybe he can turn everything around injury wise. And it's tough to really figure out what the plan is. But at 70, if Pete's going to coach another 5-6 years, maybe this is part of his plan.
Maybe I could be, it's very, very hard to tell at this moment with everything in such flux. And to that point, they're going to have to find a way, if they are to be competitive, they're going to have to, they clearly want to try to be more like the 2011, 2012, 2013 Seahawks, right? 2012, 2013. Yes, I know Russ was there, obviously, duh. But he wasn't quite yet 2015, 2016. He wasn't quite the Russ that he grew into, right, is the point. And yes, that's an all-timer defense there. So you can't just wave a magic wand and replicate the LOB. However, with assets and with money, maybe they can go out and like really, really just do what you've been asking for, right? Go get the best offensive lineman. And if they're not re-signing, if they do re-sign Penny, to something affordable, essentially, fine. Pretty deep looking draft class in terms of some cool looking running backs, which by the way, if you're picking 40th and 41st and you have 3 in the top 41, it does give you, and that's something I think we should talk about a little bit. This package, you get Noah Fant. Okay. Gerald Everett probably doesn't get re-signed. All right. So $6 million back on or so, right? $6 million back that you get to spend somewhere else. And that goes to Fant. All right. We'll take the $6 million there. I'm not exactly sure what Fant's salary is. But having the 3 in the first 41 picks, it absolutely does give you the license to spend one of those 40 and 40 or 41 on what could be the first running back off the board. And, people forgetting Nick Chubb was a 2nd-round running back. Jonathan Taylor was a 2nd-round running back. These are pretty early 2nd-round picks. And running backs will continue to fall. So it does give a real nice license to experiment more and maybe go really, really get back to some more Pete Carroll style football with like good O-line play and an aggressive new running back too, if Penny's not back.
Well, there are some quarterback options out there, and I see that Jake is not quite into the potential that Deshaun Watson is out there. Not maybe not the greatest option, and yeah, there would be a lot of fans who are not into that. And with that, I see Adam has joined in here.
Do you have
Adam,
a clean microphone sound? Because my tablet was on 6% when I got this news, and I have to plug it in, and usually that goes buzzy.
No, you're coming in.
No, you sound crystal clear there, man.
Sweet. That way sorrow can be transmitted over the interwebs. This is awesome. I can't wait to not win a Super Bowl for the next 5 years.
Yeah, at least, right? We think so. Yeah. So Adam, you said you had you were kind of, you had a night, so you woke up, you kind of woke up to this news, right? You woke up to somebody.
So weird. Just randomly had a tough night sleeping, and just couldn't sleep the entire night. And it's probably because the whole universe was about ready to be spun out of control in a way that I was not ready for. And so honestly didn't fall asleep till like 8-9 a.m. this morning, which is really unusual. That never really happens to me. And literally woke up, turned on the inverter here at the cabin on a snowy, cold day, just like my heart. And the news popped up. And then, as you guys may imagine, there was quite a few texts. And there was one person who was more than excited to give me a phone call. Our good friend, Bronco Jared.
Yeah, Bronco Jared already checked in.
Yeah. Let me, or how about you guys guess as to if he felt like they did good or bad in this trade?
I'm guessing that he felt like the Broncos wiped the floor with this particular trade. That, that they totally got over on the Seahawks.
Yes.
And that's what, okay.
They did.
So this is what I mentioned to Clinton. This is a trade as if Russell Wilson wanted out.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, that's fine.
The compensation tells us this, right?
Sure. I don't understand the trade, in the cap hit. I mean, that's the biggest part about this for this year. I mean, I guess if you don't give a crap and you're blowing it up anyways, then who cares if you're hamstrung for a year cap wise?
Yeah, well, if you're, like I said, as part of the compensation with this draft, the Seahawks are going to, because it's going to be a 2 or 4 win season in 2022. Part of the compensation that we have to understand is that they're getting one of the top 2 picks in the 2023 draft. So yeah, this year doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely getting one of the top 2 picks in the 2023 draft with Russell Wilson at the helm of the Broncos. Like, we're not getting it from the Broncos pick.
No, we're getting it from our own. It'll be our own top 2 pick, because the Seahawks have a pick in 2023. Their own pick's going to be 1 or 2. Now the Broncos pick is going to be in the 20s, or the 30s, hopefully, not for them, I guess, not for us. But yeah, our pick will be in the top 5.
Can we go over the so what is the cap hit? Do we like just bleed $25 million too?
Yes. Yep. Just dead money. Just dead money this year.
With spot.
Now, if they would have waited till next year, then you wouldn't have this. Like, here's the thing. Look, all right, I'm gonna be pissed off for a second. I'm still going through the fucking emotions here. Like, this is so ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. Oh, Russ really wanted out. Well, go suck a whole bunch of crap, Russ, because you don't get to leave. That's what I would say. You don't get to leave. You're under contract. Throw a fit, throw away game checks, whatever, but we're going to try to win another Super Bowl with 1 more year. Now, in the final year of his contract, if you want to trade him, because that's honestly when I thought this was going to be happening, I would have been a lot better with this. Like, one more roll here, see how it's going to go. And then, it's the last year of his deal. And then everybody's like, well, you're not going to get as much for Russell Wilson. Well, why trade this year when there's no available quarterbacks, and then there's no available quarterbacks in the draft? Like, it doesn't give you any advantages. Any advantages. What, you're going to be the Broncos for the next 10 years? Let me tell you how Bronco Jared's been feeling over the last 5-6 years since Peyton
and they
Manning's
won the Super Bowl more recently than the Seahawks.
I know, but since Peyton has left, listen to what he's gone through over these last few years, man. They've had a good coach, good defense, all the things except for a quarterback, and they can't even make the playoffs year after year after year. We're not competing with the Niners now. We're not competing with the Rams now. We're not even competing with the fucking Cardinals now for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, maybe something else crazy comes along, like they end up trading for freaking Kyler, which I couldn't stand.
Oh
but,
gosh.
Who knows? Who knows
Dude.
at this point?
Okay, Kyler or Deshaun? Which one makes you more upset?
Deshaun, and that's not even a question.
Wait. What question did you answer? Which one makes you more upset, or who do you want?
Oh, well, I would definitely take Kyler. I'd take Kyler all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Never, ever, ever on Deshaun Watson. Okay. Unless all 22 people come out and say, just kidding.
Yeah, I take Deshaun Watson. I could separate my separate my fandom from all the other
that's
stuff.
just too much, dude. That much shit with women. Can't have it. I don't want it anywhere around my life.
It's by no means an advocacy. I'm just like, again, stripping away emotion and stuff, saying the dude's a better quarterback, and
he's a far better quarterback.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah,
I don't want either way.
You know what? That's probably enough to leave it there, because we don't need to talk about it unless it actually happens. But I wanted to get initial reactions.
I want the dirty idea of Kyler Murray on the Seahawks out of my head, though. Please. Can't stand.
Well, I mean, is that really any worse than Russell Wilson being in a Broncos uniform now?
No, it's not.
All gross. Yeah.
You know what I got to hear at the end of my phone call with Bronco Jared? He goes, "You know why sunsets are Broncos colors?" And I was like, "Why?" Because God loves the Broncos. Click. And hang up.
Some pious BS right there. All right.
Yeah, that's Bronco Jared.
Does anybody think Drew Lock can play at all?
So I asked Jared.
Right.
I asked him.
Okay.
So, what Drew Lock is 40% Russell Wilson? And he just laughed. He goes, on one of his better days. Oh. He's like, he's mentally not there at all. He's like, he makes all terrible decisions. He's like, good luck with that. Oh, he's thrilled to get rid of Drew Lock.
I'm not. No, Drew Lock is not. I just can't see him as the week 1 starter. Whether they go out and trade some picks for Gardner Minshew, I'll take that. Gosh, would I take? I'm trying to think of. Well, I'd rather have Carson Wentz over Drew Lock. As terrible as that sounds.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been up close and personal with Drew Lock, being again you guys are closer physically, so you're going to see more Bronco stuff, and I see more Jets stuff and things like that, just being on the East Coast. So, I see what I see. I watch the occasional game they're on, Thursday Night Football or whatever, and just seemingly a fairly unimpressive middle of the road or lower third QB. I was just wondering if there was ever the flashes, holy crap, he could be it, he could have it, and I never saw it, so I didn't know if folks who watched it more maybe got some glimpses that I missed.
I love you too, David, just so you know. Drew Lock has a lot of arm talent, and he's a chucker. He's a certified chucker.
It doesn't fit in with Pete Carroll.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, Pete just wants to run the ball and take chunk plays.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Drew Lock could do well. Noah Fant, all the talent in the world coming out of the draft, all the measurables, everything you look for, has not been a producer in the NFL at all.
Well, he hasn't had a quarterback.
He's had 600 to 700 yard seasons every year, 90 targets.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've watched a lot of Noah Fant, and I come away every game going, for what he is, he should be a lot more.
Sure.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
I mean, for the cap hit for 2 years, because under the 5th year option, it's like a $7 million contract. He's going into his 4th year this season, $2 million. I mean, that's for a guy who there's potential there. I'm okay with it. Shelby Harris is the best player of the 3, obviously, that come over in the trade.
Yeah, a good interior lineman. You know how much I love building from the line, so that's cool. I'm not sure you trade a franchise quarterback for a first-round pick you can't use on a quarterback this year, a quarterback that you can't play, and then a first-round pick next year that you can't use to draft a quarterback. That's cool.
There's a starting left tackle in this draft that we can get at number 9.
At 9? I don't know.
it changes everything, doesn't it? I'm still wrapping my head around it.
Look, there's going to be plenty of time to go over the draft, but the plan that seems in my mind right now is, okay, you use the couple second round picks on defensive guys. You take either the best pass rusher or the best offensive lineman in the top 10. You find a QB to go out and be a guy who can win you 3 or 4 games, obviously 2 games over the 49ers because we own them. And then maybe you get a third win somewhere in there. And then you're drafting in the top 2 or 3 next season.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with you already starting to think about the future in that way. I'm not okay with it, Brandon.
I woke up at a normal time this morning, so I'm deeper into this process than you are.
True.
I'll say something. It does make the draft more exciting. So there's that. They get to look forward to, like, pick 9's pretty damn good. So I look forward to it. He's gone now, right? I can't get him out of my head that quickly. I'm not trying to be that quick about it, but like, it'll make that quite, hey man, pick 9. It's that day and that leading up to it, that and the day before and then the day of, it'll be exciting, and there's new things to look forward to.
The draft's going to be exciting this year, guys.
Yeah. and that sucks. It shouldn't be, but at least I don't know.
So when everything changed over in 2020 to this new decade, was that just like, did the world just decide it was going to kick everybody from the Northwest in the balls as hard as possible forever? Like between Corona and, wars and Russell Wilson being traded, like, tell me something in the last 2 years that's gone right.
Yeah. There's probably something. I mean, hey, for Broncos fans, today's a great day, right? And draft
I know one, and they didn't deserve it.
No. Well, especially if your sample size is Jared. So
yeah, I got 2 buds in my town. They were not, being braggadocious. They were just fired up for the trade. They're Broncos fans. And I was picking their brains too, like about the players coming back. They were very high on Shelby. They did say oh, you're gonna love him. Like the guy, they're like, he is just everywhere. He is stuffing runs, tackles for losses, just completely busting through the gut and disrupting up the middle. He's like, you're absolutely gonna love that guy. But at the same time, I think they were texting me because they knew I was in a pretty emotional state. And they were just like, it's going to be okay. You're getting some good players back. And I had
none of them are quarterbacks though.
Yeah. That's the thing. I had other folks were like, hey, sorry about the trade, but they're like, looks like you got a really good deal back. And I'm like, and these are like intelligent football fans. I'm like, really? You think this is a good deal? Like, it didn't make me feel any better. It just made me feel like they don't really watch enough football. It's like, we don't have right now. Yesterday or this morning, we had Russell
saying
Wilson.
That though, Clinton, are the same people who have been watching with the idea that Russell Wilson is on his way out because they've been told constantly that Russ keeps trying to get out. So for someone trying to get out, this and that understanding, this probably does look like a decent trade. It's like, well, you're getting something. It's 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. That's something, and 3 good, one really good player and a couple of dudes.
Yeah. There's some great comments dropping in here. A lot of Rob Staten comments. People saying that Rob Staten's having his day here, maybe taking a lap, I guess. I do wonder how others are gonna react to this, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody wanted to lose Russell Wilson, even if they were critical or thought this was going to be what was going to transpire.
Well, and I know, Clinton, you have a meeting here at the top of the hour that you need to roll out for. So any closing comments before you hop out?
No.
Fair enough, my man. I appreciate you hopping on and getting on before me.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It just hurts. I'm sorry, Clinton. Just know that you're still loved all the way out here, even though that this happened today. We all got to hug each other today, boys and girls.
Yeah, we shall overcome. We'll and again, I cheer for this, and go Hawks. See you dude soon.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Yeah, dude. So one person I do have to give a shout out here to. I will when we do our regular show. But after the news came out Carly Perkins came in as a $3 a month patron,
Wow.
and so that made me feel good. Like
Carly's for real, maybe more for real than Pete and John and Russ. Like, because Facebook users, little comment here, didn't they just renew season tickets yesterday? Huh.
It's the thing is though, it's not too late to get out of it. The payment doesn't come due until April. So because I had a single ticket that I've been planning to get out of.
Yeah.
And I emailed to cancel it yesterday before the news, and I heard back this morning that I was able to cancel it. But wow. Yeah, I wonder how many season ticket cancellations are going to be coming through here in the next couple weeks, because
quite a few.
I'm kind of feeling it, like,
well, I guess at the end of the day, as I sit and think about this, the power struggle that had gone on the last 2 years, if it's between Pete and Russ, how do you choose Pete? I just don't understand.
Unless Pete has that much control that he's the one.
Clearly he does.
If he's the one making the choice, then he's going to choose himself over Russ.
Right. So this definitely looks like Pete's around for the next 2-3 years, right? Despite like some crappy health issue, which doesn't happen to him.
Yeah, I don't think he has any plans to go anywhere. I mean, that would be obvious.
Yeah, I mean,
because then as Jody Allen, you make the decision of, well, Pete's not going to be around more than a couple years, then you would go with Russ.
So you're going to go. I mean, this is a minimum 3-year, rebuild. I mean, oh my God. I mean, what are the odds that Bobby plays for this team this year?
Oh, I would say 0%.
Next to none, right?
Yeah. Why would he come back to play for a rebuild now? Well, so DK is the other big trade chip, right?
Yeah.
You probably get a couple first-round picks for him. So then if you're talking, gosh, another team that would give up a first-round pick this year and a first-round pick next year, then I guess you're getting into the area to where you could probably do some pretty decent damage between this draft and the next.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe they're just trying to, I guess the first round picks for this year, it's just, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Not for a quarterback, but.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole point. That is the whole point. It doesn't freaking matter if you use all these first round picks and draft really well and build a good defense and then have a guy who can barely play behind center, or that's even a mediocre guy,
because you want your top first pick for next year.
Look, it's not that simple.
And I know there was a lot of people, coming at us for saying that there was no way it could happen. There were two factors that we didn't consider. One factor being that Russell Wilson absolutely wanted out. And I only say that looking at the trade package. And the second one being that we didn't consider the Seahawks good draft pick for being bad in 2022 as one of the picks you have to consider as part of the trade package.
Right. No, that's true. So we didn't swap a first this year, right? We still have our first for, our first is gone from the Jamal trade.
We have, they lost the one from Jamal this year, which would have been 10, but the Broncos had number 9. So we get the Broncos 9th overall pick. And then we have the 40th overall and 41st.
Right.
And the 41st was the one that the Seahawks had. So,
hey,
and then next year, the Seahawks will have their own first round pick. They'll have Denver's first round pick.
Right.
And then probably the pick that they trade away DK for.
Right. Oh, yeah. So to all the folks that are like, hey, man, you guys said this wasn't happening. You said it wasn't happening, blah, 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 blah. Like, here we go, guys. Are we all ready? Already? I'm looking dead at the camera. Do you see me? Do you see my eyes? Guess what? I was wrong. It happens. I'm really sad I was wrong about this. I really wanted to be right, but I wasn't. Adam Emmert, was wrong about the Seahawks trading Russell Wilson.
But you were right in one aspect. There was no way that they were going to trade him within the NFC. So when you did your car rant about the NFC East teams, the Eagles being on board, the Commanders being on board, No way they're going to the East. Yeah, no way he's staying in the NFC.
Here's the sad part. I'd rather have Daniel Jones than Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had 2 picks in the top 15.
They had like 5 and 7.
Yeah. You know what? The ideal deal, now that this has happened.
Yeah.
I would, if it were Daniel Jones, 2 first-round picks from the Giants this year, and their first-round pick next year.
Right.
That would have been a better deal than what we got from the Broncos.
It would have been, but like I said, I don't think they had any interest trading him in the NFC. And
Russ wouldn't have agreed to go to the Giants. They have a terrible team.
Yeah, that's my thought on it. Right. I'd say probably the only one he would have agreed to was probably Commanders. And I would have much rather had Heineke.
Yeah, it might still be possible. There
might still be possible. I just had visions of a Jameis here going through my head. Like
there's a lot of terrible options. See, this is why you say that it won't happen, because now look at the options for 2022.
Right,
there are like 0 good quarterback options. Like nothing sounds good.
So I've looked at a little bit of Malik Willis. I've looked a little bit at Cody Pickett. I did not like what I saw of the first part. I did not go through any of the other guys. I guess it's time for me to really actually do my quarterback deep dive in this draft. Maybe the Seahawks feel like there's a guy they can snag later, like that is in the draft. And Jake, I mean, let's talk Brady. Yeah, I mean, I'd take Tom, but this team isn't a Brady away from winning the Super Bowl.
No, it's
not right now.
Brady would not say if Brady's going to come back, he would pick the Niners over the Seahawks right now, based on talent level of the roster.
I mean, with Russ gone, I mean, as a Seahawks fan, do you not have to think that we're one of the 5 worst teams in the league this year?
Yeah, that's why I'm counting on a top 2 or 3 pick next year. What?
You know, you got mad at me. You got mad at me all the way back in the either 11 or 12 season for wanting to, whatever year the Beastquake that was 12. You got mad at me because at the end of that regular season, I wanted them to lose to the Rams towards the end of the year to get a better draft pick and not go to the playoffs that year. Yeah, and here you are rooting for an entire season of suck.
I'm not rooting for it. It's going to happen. It's what. I'm not team tank. I'm just team realistic in the talent level of the roster now. If they don't bring back Bobby, which why would Bobby want to come back? If they trade DK, which if you're blowing it up, why not? You know, what other options are out there? I mean, maybe Tyler stays just because, you know, he's a Seattle guy and he and Quandre can come back and hang out together and be buds on a team that's not.
Oh, they're not breaking. Quandre's not coming back this year.
No.
Why would you? Okay,
why not?
So if
you're
played your heart out,
build the defense, and if you're on maybe a 3-year time frame, I think Quandre fits within that 3-year time horizon for a good defense.
Oh, sure, that's great. Have you thought about Quandre's history at all? He's done this dance, this play on a craptastic team, hope for draft picks thing, and then when he was about ready to get paid, you know, they gave him the hard line throughout the offseason, plays out his contract, breaks his leg in the last game, and then he's going to come back to a 3-win team the following year.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe you hold out and get paid if that's the case. Okay.
I bet you he takes less to go somewhere where he has a chance to win. You don't have a chance to win without Russell Carrington Wilson. You do not. You just don't. Yeah. This is going to be a rough year, and I'm so frustrated too. Like the year where you're like, well, let's double down on this podcasting thing and do a little bit more of it and all of that.
Yeah, it's great idea, Adam.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pete and John. Yeah.
Well, you know, I have heard that you know, the podcasting thing works out really well for really good teams or really bad teams, and you know, it's kind of been middle of the road. So maybe being really bad, it works out for us when it comes down to it.
I guess. I mean,
really, we should talk more about how this impacts us.
Yeah, exactly right. 100%. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough going forward. We've never seen this team with what's this from Simon
Simon
Diggs'
Curtis
Twitter
comes and
reaction to the
says,
trade
yeah.
and reply he thinks Pete is dumb. Well,
I mean, look, the timing of this obviously is really good for Quandre Diggs. If he is wanting to go somewhere to win, he can choose to go somewhere else now.
yeah.
And I think that look, Quandre was a big Russell Wilson guy. You heard it from him when he was
Yep.
on Ben Baller's podcast. So and why wouldn't you be? So yeah, it's gonna be tough without Quandre would he should absolutely move on.
Oh man. Yeah, it's tough to wake up to a phone call from Bronco Jared, and then my buddy Doty, who is a saw filer down near Vancouver, Washington, who's a Niners fan, and to wake up to his text too, like, dude, you got rid of him, thanks. I guess that's the way that I'm trying to view this. Like, how do rival? If I'm a Rams fan, like all four of them, one of them. So 25% of the Rams fans, if I was 25% of the Rams fans.
Yeah.
Would I be happy about this trade? Yep.
Oh yeah.
If I were a Niners fan,
Niners fans are stoked.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's how you know. It's like when the Rams,
because the 49ers, they haven't been able to beat Russ. It just hasn't happened.
Oh my God. Oh, what about a Jimmy G or ugh.
Oh no. Why would you do that?
Why would you trade away Russell Wilson this year? Yeah. Like, I mean, at this point, right? Like, there's no more normalcy bias. That's broken up now. So anything's possible.
Yeah, I know. Well, do we need to do we need to put Jacob at ease here? What happens with the podcast? We don't have any plans on going anywhere. It's just, it counts. We count on our flock to help us stick around, and so
sure.
As long as the flock is there, we're here.
This wasn't the Russell Wilson Russell Wilsoners podcast. This is the Seahawkers podcast. You know what I mean? Like that. This is, again, how do you know that you're not a bandwagon fan?
Exactly. If you're a bandwagon fan, then you're a Broncos fan now.
If you're a bandwagon fan, you got some bruises from jumping off the wagon as it was still moving, and you got some issues. So, yeah, it's just, I'm still processing. This is
look, and as far as that comment goes, I mean, you can still be a Russell Wilson fan and want him to do well. I mean, I don't think I can bring myself to get to that point just yet.
No,
my Broncos hatred, but and the Broncos hatred runs deep, especially for any fan who has been around since the AFC West days. I mean,
well, okay, let me say this, because I could definitely go through my text messages, Brandon.
Yeah.
To Bronco Jared, and probably about the third game, Russ was back from finger injury and was spraying it all over the field and didn't look good. I was like, Russ for a second and a bag of footballs
until the skills competition, and you're like, okay, he's fine. And Joseph, now I don't know if I agree with this, because it's not that they didn't have a choice, because Russell Wilson was still under contract for 2022. He was under contract for 2023. You can go franchise tag in 2024. Right. And you have Russell for 3 years. And then, at that point of his career, you have to wait and see where he's at. So now, whether or not Russ's agent had something to, his relationship through his agent with John Schneider, I always got the sense that wasn't so great, especially, if you listen to John Clayton, who I feel is kind of the semi mouthpiece for the Seahawks organization. Yeah. And John, he absolutely, he never has anything good to say. John Clayton, I'm talking about. John Clayton has never anything good to say about Mark Rodgers, Russell Wilson's agent. So I kind of get the aspect of the relationship between those two through John Clayton.
Yeah. The idea that the Seahawks didn't have choices is just fundamentally untrue. This is kind of a very American way of looking at things. The idea of, well, I mean, his contract is up, so they didn't have any choices. Like, we've kind of gotten soft, and we don't talk about. All right, there we go. We can throw some Puna out there. Yeah, why not Puna at QB? Why not?
I mean, you probably still win 3 games, right?
Yeah. But as a society, like, we often don't look at tough choices where you have to say things to other people they don't like to hear as part of your choice. There's absolutely choices in this situation. You could have made Russell Wilson play next year, and just like Brandon said, in 23 and in 24, if you wanted to. That was an 100% choice. Like, that, you can do that. You can also choose to eat the money for Pete's contract and get rid of Pete and keep Russ. Like, that's a choice you could make. Now, do you eat money and all that? Sure. Do you have to tell Pete bye-bye? Yeah, absolutely. Tough decisions. There were choices. Their hands weren't tied here. This is what they decided to do out of multiple options that very much were there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't like it.
It's tough to like. I mean, yeah, bring in Minshew, dude. I'll take a year of Minshew. I mean, at this point.
Okay.
He's from the Palouse. Come on, man.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I think it's time to get out of here now that I'm seeing 49ers fans in the chat. So you had a good one.
Put up a couple. Let's address 49ers fans real quick. This will be fun.
Yeah, well,
divorce is always hard. It's funny that the first reaction when I saw the news, all the denial and all that stuff, but it's a lot like being broken up with before you're ready.
Yeah.
With like a pretty hot chick that you're like, not sure I'm going to be able to pull something like that again.
Yeah. That's trying to figure out how this feels is kind of strange, because I did see it was Mike Siebert out.
Brittany's calling me. I couldn't hear you at all there through all that. Brittany was calling me and it came through. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
Oh, still can't hear you. Oh, something happened.
Yeah. Maybe if I take you out and bring you back.
Well, this might be where we end up leaving everybody. Yep. Yeah. No.
Are you back?
Nope. Okay, there we go. The universe has spoken. This is the end of the podcast. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.